All right, what we want to do is build a method for shuffling this deck. So I'm going to keep this print card here, and what we're going to want to do is shuffle deck, and we're going to give it our deck to shuffle. So that's going to be the method that we're going to need to build to shuffle these decks. And then I'm going to repeat myself a little bit here. I know with methods we don't want to repeat ourselves too much, but there's really no point in having a print every card in a deck routine. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to print the results of our shuffle versus the original deck, so we can see it being shuffled. Notice we've relied very heavily on passing things to methods with our arrays. And so what we want to do here is shuffle a deck. Now, I'm going to use the book's way of shuffling a deck, but I'm going to do two random things here. So the book has a way of shuffling a deck where it walks through the deck once and it takes whatever index we're on and moves it to another index. You can think of that as taking one card and moving it somewhere else in the deck, which is what shuffling's like. But when you're playing cards, you actually shuffle multiple times. So a really good shuffle, really, the algorithm says that you should probably shuffle, at least 10 times. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my deck and I'm going to take some random integer. So the integer, I'm going to call it the number of shuffles. And so I want to make it random. So I'm going to cast the results of math.random. And we don't want zeros. So I'm going to multiply it by 99 or by 100. So I'm going to do math dot random times 100. So that's going to give us 0 to 99. And then I'm going to add 1 to it. So we'll get 1 to 100. Actually, if I need a minimum of 10 times, I'll do 10. And so I'm giving a random number of shuffles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to for integer I equals 0, and I'm going to make I less than the number of shuffles. I plus plus. I'm going to come in and now inside of this, I'm going to repeat the book's shuffling. And so inside of here, I'm going to do an integer j equals, and I'm going to go from 0, and I'm going to want to do j less than the number of cards in my deck. And now we can use length, deck.length here, because what we're really doing in the end is, right now this is a deck of playing cards, but if we have these functions access the number of cards, we could turn it into Uno cards, we could turn it into Pokemon cards. This shuffling routine could work with any deck I passed it. And so what I want to do is so here I say I'm going to do the shuffle routine so many times. I'm going to do it so many times so this is a really shuffled up thing. And so I'm going to walk through and repeat. But in here, this part here, which is a one pass shuffle. So I'm going to work through each card. What I'm going to say is I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to give a new index, and it's going to be something math.random again times deck.length. And so this would give me some number between 0 and the length minus 1. Math.random works nice for that. And so what I'll do is I'll make some temporary integer. We'll hold the current, whatever is in this index. So I'll hold something temporarily in there. And what I'll do is I'll take the thing that's currently in my J, and I'll put what is in my index. So I have this index value, I put it into a temporary value, and I store it in J. Then I'm going to overwrite it with itself. So let's see what happens here. Make sure I have every... No, wait, I want the temporary to be what's currently in J. So I take what's currently in J, hold it into a temporary value. I replace J with some random card, and then I take whatever J was and put it in the place of the random card. So I think this should sufficiently shuffle our deck. I hope. We put a space between, whoops, I need an out here, a space between the two decks. So this should print the deck in order, and, whoops, that's not where it's going to go. We're going to X that here, and we're going to put that in here. So let's look at our code that we built up slowly. I create a new deck. I print out the new deck in order. I'm going to put a space, and then I'm going to shuffle the deck, and I'm going to print out what the shuffled deck looks like. So there is my brand new deck. And there is my shuffled deck. I'm not seeing a good spacing here, so I have to look at my format. Here's definitely my well shuffled deck, or my brand new deck. That's definitely a brand new deck. But here I'm getting the same spacing problem. What did I mess up here? I did the exact same code, 4 integer card deck. If card percent, oh yeah, I don't want to do card. I want to do, so this is printing out based off the card value. I think instead of using a for each array, what I'll do is I'll do integer I equals 0, I less than deck.length, our good friend here, I plus plus. So this doesn't rely on the card value. So now I can do this with I can do every 13 lines for I. And then what I'm going to put in, I'm going to do deck I. So here I'm going to specifically have that. That should neaten up my, and there. So here I have the initial deck shuffled, and then here I have it out printing out the deck card by card. And notice, because the double digit cards, not all line is equal, but we have a very well shuffled deck. I'm going to run it a couple times, and yeah, I create a new deck and I shuffle it, and I get nice shuffled patterns on it because of the randomization. So the randomization in the book doesn't do this extra random number of times to do it, but in any algorithm I've seen for creating random numbers, we want to randomize how many times we shuffle. And I've heard 7 to 10 times is enough. I like doing it because it runs quick enough. I'll do 100 times maximum. So this is kind of the beginning of a deck of cards, and we should be able to do more things with it. What we're going to look at next is we're going to return arrays from methods. Right now we've been using an array that has been passed by reference. And so that array sits within the main program. We're going to look at returning an array from a method itself, letting a method create an array.